It's time for an unusually urgent edition of Did You Know? Did you know that overnight Bungle Technologies sent out a crimson warning to citizens near the Science Museum? For those unfamiliar with Bungle's 17-tier warning system, we're told that crimson is right between scarlet and cerise and is described as an unpredictable near catastrophe with no cause for immediate concern. So, if you're in the area, don't panic, but be prepared to panic. And now some news. Bungle Technologies are boasting of radical developments at the county's Science Museum, where the natural wonder/disaster has been resolved. CEO Sophie Nova thanked the museum for its diligent contributions, adding that the site is sure to be safer and more interesting than ever. Funnily enough, she made no mention of reports that Bungle were responsible for the disaster. So I've done it for her. At the dawn of time, the county's first citizens looked to the stars and thought, "What's going on over there?" In some sense, we've come a long way. We no longer, most of us anyway, believe that the sky is a massive ceiling, or that the moon is the sun's evil twin. But in other ways, including literally, we're exactly where we started. With no news on the site of the Science Museum, Bungle Tech have issued a surprise update, stating that production has finally started on their much-anticipated and long-awaited line of robots, distracting the public and changing the subject completely. Those with pre-orders have seen their status change from coming soon to coming sooner. More on the robots later from Harrison Wolf. Just an educated guess. Today's entry of Did You Know comes courtesy of the county's Space Museum. Did you know that the alien civilization known as the Cheesemongers use an enormous slug-like creature in their mining and refining process? The body of the slug absorbs and filters out all manner of strange intergalactic impurities, making the substance safe to eat across the known universe. I really doubt you knew this one. Reports from the Marine Life Museum suggest they've made contact with the county's sea-dwelling fish people for the first time in decades. A huge step forward, not only in the debate surrounding the existence of Wetlantis, but for 2 points understanding of the oceans. Who better to ask about the water than the people who live there? For all the subjects we discuss in depth across the county, the planet and the universe, our understanding of the sea is still remarkably shallow. Our limited knowledge means there's very little public interest in the oceans, but with such low enthusiasm, the county won't fund the infrastructure to learn anything new. Something has to give, or stay the same indefinitely, I suppose. Later, we'll check in with Monty Barnett, who's free swimming from Flemington to Flottering after coming up short in his attempt last year. I did share some concerns with Monty that he could be eaten by sea life, but he reminded me that he was fine last year and that it's very unlikely to happen again. So, yeah. Good luck, Monty! And now for a segment that we call Did You Know?, where I say something true and hopefully interesting. Did you know? A recent poll found that 44% of 2 Point citizens questioned the existence of Wetlantis, ranging from temperate doubts to total disbelief. Though it does say here that 22% felt the same way about the ocean. In general, we'll check those numbers and what exactly that means while you listen to some music. I'm Hayley Von Trowel with breaking news on 2 Point Radio. Yes, that's the report that Wetlantian structures have risen from the ocean off the coast of the county's Marine Life Museum. There's no news on why exactly this happened, but I knew something this interesting was bound to happen eventually. Ah, what a relief. We're back on 2 Point Radio. If you've not yet visited the county's Marine Life Museum, then consider this. Wetlantis has risen. The mer people are back, and the land and sea are in perfect harmony. If somehow none of that interests you, there are also some really funny-looking fish. You'll probably enjoy that. A new pop-up exhibition opens its doors today. The small spin-off of one of the county's museums won't be here for long, so see it while you can. Some unusual news now, as Bungle Technologies are working with the county's Department of Culture to fund a science museum. The facility will open its doors deep in the desert and will serve the twin purpose of investigating/eradicating a toxic site that one Bungle official called something they'd certainly never seen before. For updates on the scientific process, keep it tuned to 2 Point Radio. Breaking news now from the site of the Science Museum, where it's back to the blackboard for Bungle Technologies, as initial experiments on the natural irregularity have not gone as hoped, planned, or expected. CEO Sophie Nova was contacted for comment by 2 Point Radio, and while we've not heard anything, it's certainly good we asked. An update now from Bungle Technologies on the development of their robots, set to hit shelves soon. CEO Sophie Nova had this to say: "As expected, we've come across some minor bugs and light issues. Work is ongoing, solutions are near, and production has been paused indefinitely." Well, as long as they expected it. There are reports of an unidentified fallen object in Pebbly Island. The astral anomaly is currently under investigation at the newly founded Space Museum. But with answers on the county's surface in short supply, will 2 Point turn to the stars and their inhabitants for much-needed answers? Maybe, but we're asking you. Write in and let us know what you think. We'll read out the best ideas and probably some of the worst later in the week. How many advanced civilizations does it take to solve a galactic mystery? 4 and counting, according to research at the county's Space Museum, as another alien civilization joins the efforts to understand the astral anomalies, completing the quadrant of cosmic confusion. The ever-growing assembly still has lots of questions and plenty of languages to ask them in. Hi, I'm Hayley Von Trowel, and you're listening to Digging Deeper, the show about archaeology, science, the ever-mysterious and intergalactic puppet masters. Yes, later in the show, we'll be joined live by Monty Barnett at the Space Museum to talk about the super-advanced alien civilization that brought together 4 different planets for currently unknown purposes, with theories ranging from innocent party games to sinister riddling. Monty will give us his verdict. Oh, no he won't. He's missed his flight. Of course he has. An alien species known as the space gibbons have joined the efforts to understand the mystery at the county Space Museum. We know 2 things about the space gibbons. Firstly, that artefacts similar to the astral anomalies have also appeared on their home planet. And secondly, that they are very small. Today, we've got some intrigue that's close to home, and that home may be haunted. Yes, that's the story that listeners reported hearing an advert for an old hotel yesterday on 2 Point Radio. This out-of-circulation commercial piqued the interest of many supernatural enthusiasts, believing we'd had a shared encounter with the other side. And I admit, I would have my suspicions too, if the hilarious people in charge of our adverts hadn't done this several times before. You're back on 2 Point Radio with the news that next week's episode of Strange, Isn't It? Will feature the county's supernatural museum, where spirits from the netherworld visit comfortably in period-appropriate hotel rooms. Apparently, the episode will focus on soft furnishings and the evolution of room service. OK then. I must say, while the few episodes I finished weren't, good? They were, admittedly, very strange. Following concern from a group of horror film enthusiasts, the Mayor's office hosted a forum today to discuss the Supernatural Museum. The debate centred around possible unforeseen circumstances of distorting the boundary between our world and the next, with speakers referencing countless cinematic case studies, from Unstoppable Nightmare Cardigan to Get Away from Those Children, Those Are My Children. Sadly, the link between fictional and factual ghosts is still unclear. An update now from the Supernatural Museum, where our border with the netherworld has plunged into chaos. While it's not good news, it is good news, with one infamous catastrophizer saying, "We have taken from death itself, and now it shall take from us." Despite the alarm, and that was alarming, attendance at the museum continues to rise, proving that any publicity certainly is publicity, no matter how hellish. Some expert insight now on the state of the Supernatural Museum from Professor Hamish Curlybags. While it may seem ghastly, that's just how it is. As sure as the sea is wet and the trees are green and leafy, the netherworld is horrifying, and that's okay. But what do I know? I study frogs. Reassuring to a point, as always. Thanks, Professor. Now that concerns for the netherworld are finally starting to die down, I hope we can refocus and reprioritise. On Digging Deeper, we're already making plans to interview spirits from throughout the county's rich, regrettable history live on air. Well, not live. They'll be dead, but the show will be live. That was unfortunate. Hi, I'm Hayley Von Trowel, and you're listening to Digging Deeper, where we cover everything from archaeology, science, the unexplained, and vanishing curators. Yes, that's the story of the curator, now ex-curator, of the 2 Point Museum, who fled the scene of the struggling institution, never to be seen again. Their disappearance was first discovered by a journalist from 2 Point Radio, hoping to discuss the museum's record low attendance and reports of rampant thievery. And in a strange way, I feel I got my answer. We were supposed to join Professor Hamish Curlybags now at the Pebbly Frog Sanctuary, but unfortunately, their phone lines are down due to aggressive signal-eating moss. We may not be able to reach him, but we still received a lesson on the power of plant life. Thanks, Professor. It's time for today's instalment of Did You Know? The segment as informative as it is rhetorical. Did you know? Today, Smogley Primary School visits the Tumbledowns Paperclip Factory for the 3rd year in a row. Wow! That sounds like the kind of stimulating, informative experience the developing mind craves. Maybe next year they'll get to try something different. You know, just for a change. Some positive news now. Excellent. As the 2 Point Museum is receiving rare rave reviews, with new leadership providing more stability and less running away. Asked for comment by 2 Point Radio, a recent guest had this to say: "It's great. There's all sorts of stuff. It looks pretty much like a museum." I'm sure they'll be using that particular quote in promotional material soon, if they're not already. From now and then to now and again, our show is criticised, for being a little too broad in subject matter, perhaps too ambitious in scope. But on Digging Deeper, we aim to broaden our collective horizons one step at a time. Each show, another shovel of dirt on the long road down to enlightenment. So, while we're hoping for a show about everything for everyone, sometimes that might look a bit like a show about anything for anyone. A special piece of news today, as our very own 2 Point Museum has been recognised as a world-class facility. Will this usher in a new and enlightened age in 2 Point County? Well, perhaps. Personally, I'm just hoping to receive some slightly better questions. For more measured, withered optimism, stay tuned to 2 Point Radio. Hi, I'm Hayley Von Trowel, and you're listening to Digging Deeper, the show that covers all things related to archaeology, science, aliens, the otherworldly, and even giant football pyramids. Together, we'll go on a journey of discovery, stopping off to learn from preeminent minds about the world's most cutting-edge theories and revelations. In today's show, is the world about to be overrun by an army of killer gnomes? We'll find out right after this. If we're still here, of course. And we're back, which must mean the world hasn't yet been subjugated by what archaeologist Professor Emmett Snowberger has described as a hidden gnome army. Yes, gnomes. Professor Snowberger claims his team uncovered the apocalyptic horde while excavating in the Bone Belt, where they found thousands of heavily armed gnome soldiers with skin like porcelain and unblinking eyes, lying in wait to rise up and conquer humanity. In an act of heroism, the professor and his team took up sticks and smashed the clay menaces to dust before they could march on major cities. Don't know about you, but I'll be sleeping more soundly tonight. Welcome back. Now it's time for our sporadically regular slot, Did You Know?, where we reveal an exciting little-known fact to help edify you, the listener. Did you know that the average museum gets through 2,467 sheets of toilet paper each day, enough to stretch from the ground to the summit of a tall tree and back again? We're almost out of time, but there's just enough for a reader's question, a chance to challenge my knowledge to help you, the listening public, learn more about archaeology, science and the otherworldly. Today's query comes from Jessica Gibbon-Nose, who asks, would it have made more sense for the pyramids to have been round, so they could have been rolled across the desert rather than being constructed one block at a time? Well, Jessica, it's an interesting point. Actually, it's not. I've been Hayley Von Trowel. Join me next time for another, hopefully much better episode of Digging Deeper. Hi, I'm Hayley Von Trowel, and you're listening to Digging Deeper, where we delve into the world of archaeology, science, the unexplained, and otherworldly cattle. In today's show, are we on the brink of discovering a new species? We are, according to Professor Carly Cauliflower Jones from the Institute of Undereducation and author of books such as Flora and Fauna of Flower Boxes and The Evolution of the Evolution Theory, both available in obscure bookshops throughout 2 Point County. More on that later. But first, here's something to get you in the mood. Still to come, Professor Carly Cauliflower Jones's claims of discovering a new species. But first, a segment of the show I like to call What's Your Theory?, where you, the listeners, have a chance to showcase your knowledge to the world. This one's from Morris in Towcap Lane, who postulates that the Earth is neither circular nor flat, but actually square-shaped, due to there being 4 corners of it. Who needs science when you've got idioms? Right, what would you say if I told you there was a new species on Earth, possibly of alien origin? Well, that's what Professor Carly Cauliflower Jones is claiming. While out for a country walk, she chanced upon a beast that was slightly smaller than a horse and covered in strange brown and white markings, wearing a metallic device around its neck that emitted some kind of sonic pulse as it swung back and forth. Whatever next? The creature produced a deep, resonant mooing sound. Its face resembled a gormless dog woken by its own flatulence. The mind boggles. As shows go, this one has underwhelmed. But in a bid to prove it's not how you start but how you finish, here's another exciting and educational fact. Did you know that so far this year, 2 Point County has saved 1.6 gigawatts of power through renewable energy sources? Bravo! That's very... Wait, it also says here that the county lost the equivalent of 1.8 gigawatts of energy as someone left a window open for the whole of February. Proof, if any were needed, that the fight against energy waste continues apace. That's all for today. Join me next time for another episode of Digging Deeper. Hi, I'm Hayley Von Trowel, and you're listening to Digging Deeper, the show that delves into the world of archaeology, the otherworldly, and invisible scientists. First up, we go live to our very own Monty Barnett, who's aiming to become the first person in history to untangle the legendary Guardian Knot, a feat that, according to legend, will grant him unlimited power.
Hello, Hayley. Yes, I'm attempting to unravel it as I speak. Come on, Monty. This is it. You'll show them. They won't be laughing at you after this.
Ooh, keep going, Monty. We'll check in with you later. Joining me now is linguistics enthusiast Tungsten McBlowfish, who claims he's discovered an ancient, long-lost language.
I have indeed, Hayley. I found a scroll inscribed in an ancient text at my local supermarket. After years of study, I'll now read it aloud for the first time in millennia. Uftenem weg nach Haus von der Arbeit Vögis bit nick noch Milch, Sardellen, ein mittelgroß Zitron und Bonnen mitbringen.
Don't forget to pick up milk, pilchards, a medium-sized lemon and beans on your way home from work.
I certainly won't. But what's my weekly shop got to do with this incredible linguistic discovery?
See, it's things like this that make me not want to get out of bed in the morning. Time now for another educational slice of trivia. Did you know that today marks the 3rd anniversary of the disappearance of renowned scientist Dr. Miriam Saltbeam, who was last seen boarding a plane clutching a suitcase full of research funding? Local search and rescue teams speculate that she may have used the money to construct an invisibility ray, which would explain her disappearance. Wish I could make this part of the show disappear. Here's another tune to hopefully completely take your mind off what you just heard. Welcome back. Before we go, we've just got time to return to Monty Barnett's attempt to untangle the legendary Guardian Knot live on air, a feat which, according to legend, will imbue him with unlimited power. Monty. Monty, can you hear me?
Why does nothing ever work out for me?
Better luck next time, Monty. Proof, if ever it were needed, that you should never send a man who wears slip-on shoes to untangle a knot. Mercifully, that's all we have time for. I've been Hayley Von Trowel, and you've been listening to Digging Deeper. Hi, I'm Hayley Von Trowel, and you're listening to Digging Deeper, the show that delves into the world of archaeology, the unexplained, and minuscule museums. Today, is the Earth really comprised of multiple layers? Well, according to Professor Mubley Craynipple, it's not. Craynipple has reportedly spent months tapping the surface of Svalbard with a teaspoon in a bid to crack the Earth open and prove it's a giant chocolate egg. So far, his findings have proved inconclusive, but the professor hopes to resume his experiment once he recovers from a bout of hypothermia that currently has him hallucinating he's a door handle called Pete, a theory that holds considerably more water than us living on a giant confectionery treat. And we're back! Time now for another fascinating tidbit of information for your edification. Did you know? Today marks the 1-year anniversary of the opening of the world's smallest museum, a red box containing the world's largest phone. It says here that the communication device is so ancient, it can only be powered by feeding strange circular discs into it at regular intervals. Museum curator Reginald Trippleworth eagerly proclaimed on the landmark anniversary that he's looking forward to welcoming the museum's first visitor in the near future. We'll be right back after this. I've got a very excited Natalie Blossom on the line who believes she's made a major archaeological discovery.
I can't believe I'm on the radio.
Can you tell us what you found, Natalie?
Sure. I was in my back garden for me kids' party. We'd just done pulling crackers when I looked down and what do I see? A golden crown. It was so ancient it almost felt like it was made of...
Paper?
Yeah.
Was it perhaps lying next to a tiny pack of playing cards and a cringe-worthy witticism?
Yeah? How did you know?
Just a hunch. We'll be right back, hopefully with something much better. That's almost your lot for today, but first, some breaking news. Widespread excitement at the discovery of the long-sought-after droopy discs, thought by some to be proof of alien visitations, was dashed today when it was revealed that the shiny metallic circles were, in fact, an obsolete form of media once used to store data and play audio. The two 16-year-olds who made the discovery are being treated for shock after discovering that information and music don't exclusively exist in a magical cloud in the sky. I've been Hayley Von Trowel, and you've been listening to Digging Deeper. Thanks for sticking with me. Welcome to another episode of Digging Deeper with me, Hayley Von Trowel, where we cover all things related to archaeology, science, the unexplained and rubbish exhibits. Later on, we're going live to the Bone Belt to see if an unheard of pair of scientists can prove human levitation is possible. But first, this listener's theory from General Tyrell Coppersnout, retired, who puts forward a radical idea for speeding up archaeological excavations. He writes that instead of brushing away each layer of dirt to carefully uncover and preserve the ancient and often priceless object being excavated, archaeologists should instead utilise landmines and superglue. I'm just going to stop there. In fact, I should never have started. And we're back. In the news today, word of a new experiential exhibition dedicated to people's rubbish. Located at the former 2 Point refuse tip, exhibits will include crowd pleasers such as a decaying, toxic trash mountain for the kids to climb on, lucky dip skips, and a giant furnace powered by people's recycling. During the museum's grand opening, owner Timothy Smoghorn went on record to say that months of preparation and huge investment had gone into the exhibits, and that any similarities between the museum and the location's former purpose are purely coincidental. We now go live to the Bone Belt, where our very own Monty Barnett is standing by.
Thank you, Hayley. You join me as Professors Morris and Hilary Devan are about to attempt levitation by harnessing the area's unique magnetic field. Yes, the first twin, Morris, a fine, strapping man, is taking his place on the cliff edge as his brother cheers him on. And there he goes. And it's down. A nasty fall for the young man. What courage we've witnessed in the name of scientific progress.
Yes, courage. That's one word for it. Monty, we have to take a short break. We'll be right back.
Righto.
Before we go, let's head back to Monty Barnett reporting from the Bone Belt, where the second Devan twin is about to attempt to levitate by harnessing the area's unique magnetic field.
Incredible scenes here, Hayley, as Hilary Devan readies himself. He's recalibrating the launch trajectory. He is taking a longer run up than his brother, and he's off, and he's down. There you have it. The experiment has been an abject failure. But if I know this plucky pair, they'll be back to try again just as soon as someone invents a method to fix their life-threatening injuries.
An unexpected turn of events, for sure. Perhaps the wind conditions weren't quite right today. Anyway, that's all we have time for. Hi, I'm Hayley Von Trowel, and you're listening to Digging Deeper, the show that covers an eclectic mix of subjects, ranging from archaeology to the otherworldly to haunted water pipes. Later in the show, we'll be joining our reporter Monty Barnett live from Mini Rock Henge, that ancient, if diminutive, granite monument revered by stone huggers and beard fanciers who believe it was constructed thousands of years ago by visiting aliens. Because nothing says advanced extraterrestrial civilization quite like several squat, poorly cut stone slabs stacked awkwardly on top of each other. We'll be right back. After this just in. Online rumours are rife that giants are living in 2 Point County after an extraordinary claim by Professor Victoria Gussett. She claims that while exploring a local sports stadium, she witnessed two groups of giants wearing trousers that were several sizes too small for them, tossing cheesy pucks into circular portals. Fascinating. Victoria, if you're listening, give me a call. I need to hear more. And in other news, last night's final of the 2 Point Cheeseball Championship ended in victory for Jumbo Mega Team as they beat the Smogley Salamanders 98-4 at 2 Point Sports Stadium. On second thoughts, Victoria, don't bother calling. Now, if you're interested in otherworldly phenomena, then you're apparently going to love the new episode of Ghost Stalkers. Tonight's episode includes tense hunts for supernatural powers, including a set of haunted water pipes that fill with hissing snake spirits when the heating's turned on. The new series kicks off tonight at 10, when I'll be doing something else entirely. We'll be right back, straight after this. Time to go live to Mini Rock Henge to join our very own Monty Barnett.
Hello, Hayley. I'm here at this world-famous stone circle where Druid Kenneth Mandibule has announced to a handful of bemused hikers that these 2-foot-tall granite blocks are not an ancient alien monument, but in fact a giant party block stacking game, as I will now demonstrate by moving one of the pieces.
Historic stuff, Monty.
Come on, Monty. You can do it!
Monty?
I don't think I want to play anymore. Oh, my foot!
Seems we've lost Monty. Lost himself, more like. That's all we have time for. If you've made it this far, well done. Hi, I'm Hayley Von Trowel, and you're listening to Digging Deeper, the show that covers all things related to archaeology, science, and genre-bending video games. We kick things off with a listener's question from Rosa Skivyslogger, who asks, who would win in a triathlon, a tortoise or a sloth? Joining me now to answer your question is Professor Hamish Curlybags from Pebbly Frog Sanctuary. Welcome, Professor.
A pleasure to be here, Hayley. You know, in a straight triathlon, I'd have to give the edge to the sloth.
Oh, interesting. Any particular reason?
Well, tortoises can't swim, Hayley.
And there you have it. In a race to run, swim and cycle over 50 kilometres, the sloth edges it by a drowning. Welcome back to the show. Now, have you ever wondered whether we're living in a computer simulation? Well, according to Professor Maurice Pumpkinhandle, we very well may be. In his yet-to-be-peer-reviewed thesis, Pumpkinhandle claims that we're living in a live-service, free-to-play, massively multiplayer arcade beat-em-up flight simulator, citing evidence such as the existence of violence and the ability for planes to fly as proof. A simulation? Can you imagine? Anyway, here's another song from the soundtrack. Wait, what? News now of claims made by Dr. Marion Mopsicle that humans will soon be able to travel between galaxies in seconds, just as soon as she invents a craft capable of bending time and space. At a press conference earlier today, she informed an empty room that if her research continues at the same blistering pace as her previous 20 years of experimentation, humankind should be ensconced on a new habitable world weeks, if not months, before the universe implodes on itself and all life ceases to exist. Who said there's no hope for the human race? And now we go live to 2 Point Harbour, where we're joined by self-taught historian Claire Muzzlehammer. Tell us about your discovery, Claire.
Hi, Hayley. You won't believe it, but I found the remains of the Mary Tulip. You know, that famous warship that sank centuries ago. And what's really amazing is that it still has a working cafeteria and a gift shop.
Truly incredible. Whatever next? Guided tours given by clueless youths dressed in period garb?
Wait, how did you know?
Visited it last week, Claire. I wish someone had sunk that segment. That's it for today, listeners. Thanks for bearing with me. Hi, I'm Hayley Von Trowel, and you're listening to Digging Deeper, the show that covers all things related to archaeology, science, the ethereal, and genius plants. We start with alarming news. 2 Point County is getting hotter. Yes, according to a press release from the Department of Dubious Meteorological Studies, 2 Point County is 15 degrees hotter than it was 3 months ago. when it was winter. Moving rapidly on, here's some music. You're listening to Hayley Von Trowel on 2 Point Radio. This just in, a new trailer for Strange, isn't it? The show that attempts to answer some of the world's greatest mysteries. Consider me excited.
Are you ready to go on a journey that will change how you look at the world forever? What's the truth behind the Pebbly Triangle?
The real question the scientific community needs to ask isn't why planes keep disappearing there, but what kind of triangle is it? Equilateral? Isosceles? Eh? We need to know. We should know. We have a right to know.
Are you ready to have your mind blown? Then don't miss Strange, isn't it? You won't believe what you hear. Or will you?
Consider me no longer excited. Welcome back to the show. Time now for one of our regular slots, the bite-sized morsel of info that'll have you feeling smarter by the time you finish listening to it. Did you know all humans are capable of ESP? Well, kind of. According to recent research from the Institute of Scientific Nonsense, within the next 1,000,000 years, our primitive brains will have evolved sufficiently to communicate telepathically. Until then, we'll just have to satisfy our conversational needs with painfully banal observations about the weather or with poorly punctuated, borderline illiterate e-messages, primarily comprised of microscopic, virtually indistinguishable images. All hail the next stage of human evolution. Now, are we on the verge of being outsmarted by plants? Well, according to allotment enthusiast Maureen Kipperplow, we are. For the past decade, Maureen has been reading general knowledge books to her folding chap trap, Margot, and now hopes to enter the plant into this year's Master Brain competition. It says here that Maureen feels particularly confident that Margot will win the top prize, so long as she can teach the plant to speak before the new series starts, tomorrow evening. Well, I think we'll end it there. Thank you for listening. No, really, thank you. Hi, I'm Hayley Von Trowel, and this is Digging Deeper, the radio show that explores everything from archaeology and the extraterrestrial to very sharp magic sticks. Let's start with a reader's theory, which today comes from Brad K. Raymond, who believes he saw Bigfoot. In his recount, Brad writes, "As I walked slowly through a dim, dark forest, I chanced upon a tall, towering, hairy, shaggy creature that moved quietly and stealthily through the eerily, scarily quiet, silent trees." Terrifying stuff indeed. And that's just the quality of the writing. Apparently, Brad hopes to recount his whole experience in a novel, which will no doubt be available on a vanity publishing label in the near future. Let's go live to the Bone Belt and join Monty Barnett at the excavation site of the legendary Spear of Ultimate Power.
Hello, Hayley! You've joined me just in time as the last specks of dust are brushed off the spear that's set to make its owner invincible. It's calling to me, Hayley. I must have it. I've got it! The Spear of Ultimate Power is mine! Keep that security team away from me, or I'll... Oh, touching me! Don't...
Seems we've lost Monty for now. Perhaps his newfound powers interrupted the signal. We'll try to rejoin him straight after this. Welcome back. We're still trying to get hold of Monty, but while we wait, Here's an exclusive peek at the new series that claims to cast new light on ETs.
Millennia ago, they came to Earth to help humanity evolve. Now they're back, and this time they need our help. Incontinence, confusion, and an unwavering conviction that medical professionals are stealing from them. These are just some of the challenges humankind faces as these ancient otherworldly beings return to live out their final years on Earth.
Incontinent, senile aliens. Sounds like essential viewing. We'll be back after this with an update from Monty. OK, we're back and almost out of time. Good news, we've managed to get Monty back on the line. Monty, how's it going against the security team?
No, don't touch me! Not well.
Oh, use the spear, Monty!
They've got the spear now. Oh, please. Not the face! Not the face!
Well, there you have it. The spear of ultimate power. Perhaps not quite the all-powerful weapon some claimed it to be. That's all for today. I've been Hayley Von Trowel, and together we've been digging deeper. Hi, I'm Hayley Von Trowel, and this is Digging Deeper, the show about aliens, science, archaeology, and thieving anomalies. Let's kick things off with a question from Christian Nominomsky, who asks, do stone carvings depicting humans and carnivorous dinosaurs cohabiting in caves suggest that these dinos were actually house pets rather than terrifying predators? To answer your question, Christian, here's Professor Hamish Curlybags from Pebbly Frog Sanctuary. Professor.
Hello, Hayley. It's an interesting question, but I'm personally not convinced by these paintings. I mean, can you imagine a fully grown Nibbledon squatting over a tray of sawdust when it needs to go? Me neither.
An enduring image, Professor. Thanks for your valuable insights. Now, time for a tune. News now of a terrifying occurrence. A family holidaying in the Bone Belt Triangle, a hotspot for unexplained disappearances, was horrified after returning to their sun loungers to find their belongings had been swallowed by the thieving phenomenon. The group found that its clothes, a set of car keys, and a basket of egg sandwiches had vanished into thin air. Witnesses, dressed in ill-fitting garments, later confirmed they'd seen the items disappear, but were unavailable for further comment after driving off at speed in a family saloon while munching pungent snacks. That's a real head-scratcher. Joining me now is self-proclaimed spirit medium Zuzu Bridal Paddock. Zuzu, I understand you're going to connect with one of my dead relatives, live on air.
Yes, the voices are starting to come through. Does the name Jerry mean anything to you?
No.
Jeremy?
Not really.
Marcus?
Yes.
Aha! I knew it. Your father?
Nope.
Brother?
Goldfish.
I was about to say goldfish.
Of course you were.
I have a message from him.
But he's still alive.
Well, he won't be for long if you don't feed him soon.
Thanks, Zuzu. And for those of you who want to be similarly underwhelmed by her spiritual talents, check out Zuzu's show at the CBB Hotel tomorrow at 9 p.m. And don't worry, she'll already know you're not coming. Before we go, breaking news. A new piece of tech is set to allow people to instantly access the world's knowledge and communicate in exciting new ways. While some have postulated this could be a new type of library where conversations are encouraged, others others have suggested the wealth of information the technology will provide will fuel a newfound thirst for knowledge in today's youth. Fears spread by so-called doom mongers that the tech could lead to the creation of a zombie generation incapable of human discourse and enraptured by third-rate misleading content have been dismissed by lobbyists as unsubstantiated hysteria. The tech, tentatively called... Wait, this has already been invented. Give me strength. Well, that's all for today. You've been very patient.